Everybody, welcome to the 3+1 live cast. I'm Zachary Kirk, and I'm happy to be here with the one and the only Tracy Bonner. Tracy, how are you doing, love?
I am well, considering.
Okay, tell me you're well considering what?
Well, I moved.
Yes.
And anyone who has moved knows that it is very stressful. And it's, you depend on a lot of people and they don't show up. And you end up doing it all by yourself. So, considering
all of that. Tracy, I know it is hard, but you look great. You're glowing. I don't know. Tracy, here's a question, I think, because you're a professional actress and you know the ins and outs of hair and makeup. What brand do you recommend for Black women? Like, what do you use that make you look so amazing every single week? Throw that product out there and give a shout out.
I like Iman. I use Iman for my press powder. I use a lot of people. Fenty. I like Fenty Beauty. I do use Sephora, the Sephora foundation, Sephora brand foundation. Yeah, I mean, those three are my go-to. I'm not a big makeup person, so
okay. Well, you look great,
and that's it.
And we are very lucky tonight to have with us social media influencer and social justice activist Michael Graham. Michael, welcome to the 3+1 live cast, my brother. How are you?
I'm good. Thank you, my brother. Thank you.
So, we're going to just kind of jump right into it. So let me give everybody like a background as to how I discovered Michael. And it was through the medium of TikTok. And I'm going to show everybody, this is how you can find him on TikTok. And so that's the official Gico. Did I say that right? The official Gico. He has over 100,000 followers with over 1.7 million likes. And so that's right, Tracy. That's huge, right? That's big compared to my I think 300 followers. And here's the thing. On TikTok, TikTok is a platform that really gives a lot of opportunity if you know how to tap into the opportunity. And Michael has decided to cultivate a TikTok that really is around, I would say, Michael, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, I see it as social justice as well as cultural upliftment. And one thing that stands out, even in how you describe yourself, is a safe space for Black women of all complexions. I want you to tell us what you mean by that and what motivated that decision for you in your branding of yourself as a social media influencer.
For sure. When I first got on the TikTok, I only had around maybe 1,000 followers. I was really new to everything. I really didn't even know how the app worked. So after a couple months of deleting the app and reinstalling the app, I would kind of start to see this slow trend of social issues start to pop up on my For You page, which is like a timeline on Instagram. And I noticed over time, there was a lot of colorist behavior on the timeline. It would also come from Black men who looked just like me and who were in my age bracket. So the main thing I decided to do was, instead of me trying to just pursue my dance career and put my dance content out there and just be kind of selfish, I decided to say, hey, let me make this a safe space, a digital safe space for Black women of all complexions. The main reason I said Black women of all complexions is because within colorism, we have the tendency to praise people of lighter skin and we defame women who have darker skin tones. So I said all complexions to mean everybody is welcome here. Everybody who's Black, we all family, we're all facing the same struggles and issues, but we all family at the end of the day. So that's why I said all complexions. So it's pretty much everybody is welcome to my page.
I love that. I cannot tell how many conversations I've had in the past few weeks regarding this issue. And it's in particular when you see a video, I don't know if you all saw it, of the Black, I guess, teenagers being interviewed about who do they prefer, Black women or white women, and just some of the comments they made. I kind of shed a little tear. So to see a young Black man say that and do what you're doing, I so appreciate that, just coming from a Black woman. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
You're more than welcome.
And so that's so let's talk just for a brief moment about the issue, of colorism in general, right? And so number one, Michael, what has been the response that you've gotten from the Black community specifically around this choice that you've made to cultivate a focus on colorism in the community? Because Black people can get really, really sensitive about this issue. And a lot of Black people don't even understand the root causes of colorism, and they haven't undergone the healing process to even understand why they themselves deal with a level of internalized racism.
Right. So the main responses I've gotten from the Black community are mixed. I can be honest in saying they're mixed. From a lot of people who are dark skinned or who have dark skin, they've said they feel very appreciated by my page. But I've also had people who happen to be colorists or just aren't aware on how big of an issue colorism is. They've hit me in my DM like, why are you posting stuff like this? What's the point of this? Oh, you're just doing this for validation. I do nothing for validation, but I educate people, because when I first started off with my page, I was specifically given information dating all the way back to slavery within the roots of what the medical system looks like today. A lot of people have no idea that James Marion Sims, who's the father of modern gynecology, is that father of modern gynecology because he experimented on Black women, regardless of what their shade was. He would use a shoemaker's awl to pry the bodies of infants out of Black women's bodies, because Black women had a higher pain tolerance. But yet you look in medical textbooks today, and it still states in some places that Black women have higher pain tolerances. So for me, it's more than just colorism or just addressing that issue. I can address colorism because it's a side effect of ignorance. Some people can be colorist and not be aware of what they're saying, but you have to be aware of the history and the hurt that's still being continued. That's why the main response I get from Black women is they love my page. I have people of all ages. I've had kids in high school, college students, grown women, even in their 50s and 60s, hitting my page saying, hey, I love what you're doing. I showed my daughter your page. She loves it. I showed my son your page. I even had teachers put my page in their lesson assignments as homework for their students to research, which I thought was amazing. And the teacher happened to be white, and she worked at a school of predominantly Black children and Latin children, and she really wanted them to just be educated more, but she didn't want to overstep that bound and educate them about themselves as a white woman. So she referred them to a source like me, because I'm also a Panamanian. My mother is Afro-Latina and I'm Afro-Latino. So I pretty much come in at both sides of the spectrum when it comes to addressing issues, because the same way I've dealt with colorism in the Black community, there's also anti-Blackness, and there's a lot of colorism within the Latin community and the Hispanic community as well that doesn't get addressed as much, so I've gotten a lot of positive feedback as well. But of course, I get like the occasional racist troll, or the person who just doesn't want to change, or the person who simply blames Black women for everything. And for them, I can educate you, but I'm not going to pour everything in trying to educate you. You can take this information and receive it over time, or you can just choose to stay closed-minded, but as long as I can present you the information, it's your choice to take it. So the main thing is I'm very humble with what I do, because like it says, you can lead a horse to water, but you can't make it drink. So I'm not forcing this upon anybody. But if you want to learn and you want to challenge your cognitive dissonance, which is what a lot of people are afraid to do, which is the main reason why they're stuck in their ways, then I'm that person. I can teach you. I can give you more resources,
And you are the next generation of leader. And
Yes.
that is exactly what you need. So can you give us an idea, an example of some colorism today that we are still experiencing?
Oh, of course. So one example of colorism could simply be showing only light-skinned women in a commercial. Dark-skinned women representation needs to be there. It can't just be token dark-skinned women appreciation, like, oh, I love this dark-skinned woman when she has this foundation. Like, no, you need to be able to appreciate a dark-skinned woman. There's also texturism, which is also heavily involved with colorism as well, because it's simply all colorism, and anything that ends with an ism is trying to put you above a person when you're at the same level. Within colorism, in today's society, if a person is pretty much obviously like, I only like light-skinned women, and then they say because, or they say it's their preference, they're degrading a woman of a darker skin color or a darker complexion because of reasons with people they've experienced or just reasons they've heard before. I think light skins are more gentle. That's very colorist. I think dark skins are aggressive. That's extremely colorist. And the thing is, those ideals get passed down, and people see nothing wrong with it. So that's why I feel like it's very important just to educate people on how harmful these things are, especially because there is division even among Black women and among Black men. A lot of people say light-skinned men can't fight. Light-skinned men are soft. Dark-skinned men are aggressive, you know? So it's incredibly divisive, and we're doing it to ourselves inadvertently.
I had a Black man tell me he preferred light skin or other because because darker skinned women look dirty.
That's a shame. That's a complete shame, because at the end of the day, if that's a Black man, he's come from a Black woman, and he ultimately calls his mother dirty as well when he says statements like that. And
it broke me because I'm a brown, dark. I'd like to say I'm dark skinned. I'm a brown.
And Tracy, what you should have said was just because his mama probably is dirty. And so just because you grew up with a dirty mama in a dirty house, she didn't clean her dirty panties, doesn't mean I'm dirty. That's what you should have said to him. You may continue. I'm sorry. I couldn't help you, man.
Thank you. No, I didn't say that. Instead, I went inward, and I kind of that hurt my self-esteem a little bit, you know, coming up I was in college then. So
right
back in the 1900s. But yeah, it bothered me because I walked away feeling like, wow, attractive Black men look at me that way, because he was an attractive guy. So I was like, dang, so what does that mean to me? Like, am I going to not be desired, or am I only desired sexually? You know, and I get that a lot. Like, my best friend is a fair-skinned woman, and she and I get, you know, when we're out together, I had this guy, I got to tell this guy pulled me at a club, grabbed my hand, and was like, yo, I like your friend. And I was like, well, grab her arm, you know, and he didn't say anything about my skin color, but those are the things that I'm always the home girl, and she's always the one that people want to make the girlfriend, you know, right, that they want to parade around. And so it just really has bothered me over the years.
Mm-hmm. And I think that is that, you know, how in Candy's in hey, how you doing, Candy? I see you made it home from Spain. I was running, you know, we made it. But that's so true, you know, that when people attack us, many times we internalize that like there's something wrong with us, instead of looking at that person again. You know, I think that is something that you learn over time. And I'm, you know, like now, I bet you would have had a different response. Because again, my response was, you know, you tell me I'm dirty, it's because your mama dirty. Or, you know, you're around dirty people that are of a darker hue, and that's your family. That has nothing to do with the rest of us in the world. And so, you know, that's kind of like, you know, tough. It is. So I think that's unfortunate, but it is a reality. Michael, what has been your most successful short form creation on TikTok? What was it, and what was it about? What was most successful?
Oh, definitely. It's probably about maybe 4 months ago. There was a blackout on TikTok, and the blackout predominantly focused on highlighting Black creators and pointing out like how Black creators get silenced on the app a lot through this process called shadow banning, where the app will actually take away your views and distort your view count, even if you have a very high following. So let's say you had 20,000 followers and you put a video up, but that video only got maybe 300 or 400 or even 1,000 views. That's pretty much what the act of shadow banning is. So on National Blackout Day, everybody used the hashtag blackout, and the timeline was full of Black creators. And I released a rap that day that hit over 1 million views, and it was specifically about Black women. And from that point on, I was like, I think I'm going to use my voice to talk about Black women and to help and uplift Black women. So that's why I really started making music too, which was this year.
And so Tracy said that, you know, you represent the future of Black leadership. And I firmly agree, right? That's one of the reasons why I wanted you to be on the live cast, to introduce you to a different type of audience, right? Because I know that, you know, you're a young man in college. Many people Correct. That know you are also very young, but I think it's very important for an older generation to know you and see you and start pouring support toward you as you move towards your goals. So question number one is, what are your ultimate goals? What do you ultimately want to do to have an impact on our world?
Ultimately, I want to help people, and not even to say it as a blanketed statement of, oh, I want to help this person, this person. I want to help everybody. Now, mind you, I cannot change anybody's mind by myself. I can't do that, but I can present you with the information, and I can educate you, and I can show love to you, because the number one thing on my platform is I show love to everybody. But the thing is, even within that love, you cannot take it for granted, because I'll tell you the truth. I can tell you history. I can tell you statistics. I can tell you about the proximity in which things happen in the Black community. But do not mistake me being kind as weakness, because I can still check you. Like the way I maintain myself online, I maintain myself ×2 in public. I'm very professional. I will not argue with you online. I do not give life to any troll. I don't feed into anything on the internet. I don't feed into negativity, because at the end of the day, you can walk away from that phone the same way I can walk away from this screen. The only difference is I'm going out into the real world and I'm taking on these real issues. I use a platform specifically just to bring awareness to those issues. So for me, one of the main things I really want to do is, I'm a choreographer. Not many people know that about me, but I like to look at myself as multi-layered and multifaceted. When I use this platform, it's pretty much to show you a side of me within my consciousness. When it comes to real life, you can see my consciousness in action within my advocacy, because like I said, my platform simply brings awareness to the things that I do. But what I would like to do is I want to open a line of dance studios targeted for kids and people who are just underprivileged. And I want to be able to put them in line so that they can hopefully make even bigger careers. I want to help people.
I knew Tracy was gonna love that desire or that calling over your life to do it. I know that you're majoring in business and that you are extending out and using social media in an intelligent, savvy way. How can, a lot of young people are on social media. How can a young person use social media to better themselves as a brand?
In order to use social media, and I will stress this a lot, you have to be better by yourself before you involve yourself with social media, because social media is your output. That's showing everything that's been engraved in you. That shows every emotion that's been inside of you. And that's an output. You have to fix your input first, because there are a lot of people who get either inflated egos or they get their hearts broken within social media because they don't know how to love themselves. They don't know how to cherish themselves correctly, and they don't know how to separate what's digital from what's real. I have a newfound love for myself, but I got that love before I was involved with social media. I was confident in who I was as a person. So therefore, anything that you see come off of me, that's not bravery. That's not courageous. That's who I am. What you see me and how you see me conduct myself, that's the love I have for myself. I didn't find love within social media. Social media just kind of picked me up along the way. And the people that follow me are supporters who like what I put out. So if you want to get into social media to bring awareness, the first thing you have to know is you have to know how to be politically correct, because you may have your own beliefs, but there's some things you can't put out there, because you have to know that everything is a reflection of yourself or the people you've been around or the things that you've been through. Therefore, I'm going to be respectful to everybody and everything that I have been through, because I was disrespected at one point in time. Therefore, I have no right to disrespect the people who are on this app or who are in social media or real life, because that's just going to come back on me and it's going to reflect myself only. Nobody else is going to look at what I've been through. So the main thing I definitely say is, before you even get onto social media, before you get 100 followers or even 10 followers, be secure in who you are, because people are going to say stuff about you regardless, especially when it comes to social media. I have 100,000 people looking at my content on a regular basis. Out of every couple hundred of them, I'm going to get a couple people who are racist. I'm going to get a couple people who are ignorant. I've been called a monkey. I've been called the N-word. I've been told, go back to Africa. I've been told, you're not Black enough. You speak Spanish. I know the truth about myself. Therefore, why would I let that affect my day? Now, if I have a chance to educate somebody, I'm going to take that chance. But at the same time, I'm not leaving myself anywhere. So one thing is, you have to be comfortable within yourself. If you're not comfortable within yourself, social media is the last place you need to be, because social media will affect you a lot more than real life will. Because the difference with social media is you take one bad video or one thing taken out of context and you will get hate for days. That's why I review my videos. I re-say things, like I reread whatever I'm going to say. I know what I'm going to say. And lastly, you have to have integrity, because there are people on social media who don't have integrity in real life, and they get on social media, they get an abundance of followers, and then they power trip. Because if you have influence over somebody, you can easily influence somebody else's life. There are people who have taken their lives because of social media, because they've been bullied by other users online who have large platforms. There are people who have lost sponsorships and opportunities and even business opportunities and even gotten illegal lawsuits because of the influence they have over other people. So you need to know that you have to be responsible with that influence. Me, I will never tell my followers to do anything, but I will tell them to love themselves, and I will tell them to respect others and maintain that same respect and love for themselves. I will tell them not to lose themselves in somebody else. So with me, you have to be good with yourself first. You have to be. And the thing is, even for those ignorant people, there are plenty of ignorant, racist people online, but the difference is they're not letting people online affect them. That's why they're so comfortable spewing hatred, because even whatever twisted, messed up thing is, they believe that within themselves. So why can't I be positive, love myself, have a positive message, and do even more than them? That's what a lot of people tend to forget, because I'm not the type to break down and put my feelings out on social media. I'm not going to do that, but I'm going to phrase it eloquently, and you're going to understand what I'm saying. So before you can hop on social media, you need to be good with yourself. You have to be comfortable with yourself. You cannot look for validation from others. I validate myself on a regular basis because of the love I have for myself.
Ooh, you better preach that thing. I want to know. I want to know, where did you get this at such a young age? Because at your age, on the outside, I looked like I had it going on, but on the inside, I was going through some inner turmoil, from inner demons in terms of self-love, self-worth. So where did this come from?
For one, I can definitely say my family is a factor, for sure, but also the things I've been through. I stay in Durham, North Carolina. I've lived in Durham, North Carolina for probably the past 10 years. Durham, North Carolina's murder rate has risen 77% in the past 2 weeks. I'm from an environment where you're not going to hear people speak like this on a regular basis. I'm from an environment where gangbanging is the norm, where hashtags and mamas losing their children is the norm. I refuse to be the norm in my city. That's why you don't hear me speak like anybody in my city. I don't conduct myself like anybody in my city. I don't walk like anybody in my city. I'm myself. My name is Mike, but people know me as Gico. People don't know that's an acronym for Gifted in the Creation of Excellence, because anything I touch is going to be hard. Anything that I put myself into is going to change my life, and it's going to change somebody else's life for the better. So the things I've been through are not a reflection of who I am. Everything I've been through is a lesson I have in my past. I don't use what I've been through as a crutch. I don't use what I've been through as something for me to lean on. I don't use my reputation. I don't let that precede me. I let the consistent change in myself precede me, because I'm not going to let something that happened 2 years ago define who I am as a person. I'm going to learn from it, and I'm going to keep it moving. I'm not the type of person who dwells on things in the past, but I am thankful for every single experience in my past. I'm thankful for the good times and the bad times. I'm thankful for being hurt and beat up at times. I never take that back, because if I was never hurt or beat up at one point in time, I probably wouldn't be the person I am now. So I would never change anything that happened to me in the past in a negative sense or a positive sense, because I know it made me who I am today. So I don't take everything that happens to me as, oh, the world is against me. I'm being molded. Nobody said being molded was easy. In order for clay to finally get hardened, it gets thrown into a kiln. I done been thrown into a kiln multiple times in my life. So therefore, what do I look like being brittle and allowing myself to be broken every single time something bad happens? No, I'm going to take it. I ain't got to like it. I'm going to learn from it, but I'm going to keep it moving. I refuse to sit and dwell on something in the past and let that define me. Because if I was, I wouldn't be myself. I wouldn't be who I am today. I wouldn't have the influence over people that I have now.
And okay, I'm sorry, Zach. I keep asking.
Wow, I'm amazed. Keep going, Tracy. Keep going.
I just want to know, what was it that was instilled in you? Because, my mama told me I was beautiful all them years, and I still didn't think that. So what was it in your mind that made you say, I am enough? I love myself. I'm this, I'm that, all these uplifting things that when things did happen, you were able to bounce back and recover.
Yeah, for sure. So when I was younger, I definitely validated myself way too much off of the people I was around, the things that I did, and lastly, the women I dated. I validated myself off of those things way too much, and those things would ultimately hurt me in the end. So for me, the main things that pretty much make me this way is the way I look at it, because it's like, I got awesome parents. I got a 2-parent household. Like, I'm already breaking the statistics in my city. It doesn't have to be perfect, but this is my family. You know what I'm saying? I got mad love for my family. One thing my pops has always told me is nobody's going to take you seriously unless you take yourself seriously. So nobody's going to love me unless I can love myself. Nobody's going to invest in me unless I can invest in myself. So therefore, I take those same things and I apply it. Even within my own consciousness and me being aware, I have to know that I am enough. I have no choice, because anybody can tell you anything, but it doesn't mean anything unless you truly believe that yourself. So when people tell me you're talented, I'll say, I know I'm talented. It's not a sense of cockiness, but it's reassurance. And it's an affirmation knowing what I can do, you know? So the things that I've been through definitely have molded and shown me like who I really am, because it just depends on how you look at it, you know?
Well, what can I do? What would you tell me and the viewers out there? What would you tell us to give us a blueprint to walk ourselves to that point, to the point of self-love?
I would definitely say, look at yourself in your toughest moment, and whatever it was. It could have been you had a hard time at work. It could have been somebody left you, somebody hurt you physically, emotionally, mentally. Look at yourself at your worst point and realize that you're still here for a reason. Mm-hmm. Everybody has a purpose in this world. I believe God has a purpose for me. I believe God has a purpose for everybody that's live. I believe God has a purpose for everybody who's listening and watching. So therefore, if I'm still here, regardless of what happened, I have a purpose. And I deserve love. I don't need to seek love from other people. I can provide love to myself, because the biggest thing that I feel like people need to know is you cannot go to somebody else for love and get into a relationship with them and then let them take love away from you. You cannot take anything from my life that you did not put here. You cannot take away my joy, because I already have that. You can't take away my self-love and my self-worth. That's already in me. If anything, you magnify what I have, but you cannot take that away. You may have shined lights on who I am as a person or what I need to work on, because whenever you get into a relationship, regardless whether it's a business relationship, like a friendship, wifey, husband, boyfriend, girlfriend, whatever it is, that shows you who you are. It highlights your insecurities. It highlights the things you need to work on. But if I have love for myself and I'm investing in myself, I refuse to let somebody rob me of that, who's only going to be here for a season of time, you know? So I would definitely say seeking your own emotional self-fulfillment is key to being able to just be good, like down the line, because it's going to be hard. But at the same time, when you get in the habit of reminding yourself, I am enough, or that's okay, I can't let that get me down. It's okay to cry. Like, it's okay to show your emotions. It's okay to have those moments. But at the end of the day, I can wipe my face. I can be like, yep, I still love me though. And I can keep it moving, you know? So I think that's the best thing. That's the real blueprint, is just your own emotional self-fulfillment. Stop looking to Instagram and social media and your likes and all these comments on these pictures. Like, stop waiting for that text from somebody to let you know that you're good enough. You know what I'm saying? Like, let yourself know that first.
You know what? I mean, this is like, let me tell you who you remind me of. You are like a reincarnation of Leroy Eldridge Cleaver. And I don't know if you know him. You may not know him.
I'm aware a little bit.
So I need, research him. Read his writings. Like, you are far wiser than your years. And I know that you're a choreographer. I know that, that is your passion. But I'm telling you, this is a book. You just gave a lesson to all these adults out there. And that's why I thought it was so essential to have you join us. So, because these are things that are there. And Tracy, I wanted to just briefly add in, like, as we unpack, because that is what adulthood at this age for us is. From your 30s to 40s, you really start doing the unpacking to understand why you are the way you are. And then you start realizing what was written on top of who you were authentically meant to be. And then you start erasing those things to get down to the heart of what God wanted you to be. But the benefit, I think, for a lot of the younger generations is that their parents were like, I think that we are somewhat woke, Tracy. And so if we had, children like Michael Graham, we would have reared our children to be more woke than what our parents knew how to do, because the world was very different then. An example being the 1994 crime bill that everyone keeps citing and going back to. What people don't realize is that the 1994 crime bill was the result of outcry in the Black community. Black people in the inner cities felt that Washington, D.C. and people like Joe Biden were ignoring the violence in their neighborhoods. So they made the 94 crime bill to respond to the increase in crimes, or not even the increase, the perception of crime. Even though it wasn't necessarily real, there was a perception that these neighborhoods were violent, even by the Black people, that their neighborhoods were violent. Just like now, we have some brothers and sisters in this world who really think their lives are better under Donald Trump. I made a TikTok, Michael, about the Proud Boys, and I have gotten the alt-right has come. They found my TikTok. They are blowing me up with their negative, racist troll comments, but of them are saying you are wrong about the Proud Boys being a racist organization because Black people are in the Proud Boys. And I was like, no, they're not. And I had to, guess what? Yes, there are. There are Black men in the Proud Boys, despite the fact that the Proud Boys want to enslave Black people, but not have sex with us. They want to enslave Muslims for sex slaves, but enslave Black people as work slaves, and then rape all women and gang rape all gay people as a form of conversion therapy, per the tweet they sent out over the course of their existence since 2016. So you know what? I think, Tracy, that is a big part of what has given birth to our new generation of leaders is some woke parents and, you know, just a different level of understanding. Michael, are there any writers or any musicians that you feel have helped shape your awareness? Because you really remind me a lot of like our old school rappers, like, right? Like I'm not a fan of current rap. I enjoy it. But there's a level of like rappers like Talib Kweli, I can't even say his name anymore. Correct. And Mos Def and like the Roots back in the day, like those artists were so hyper woke before everybody else was woke. You also kind of remind me of that. So any influences you can share with our group before we go into some of our current events. And then Tracy, I can see you already got some thoughts twirling.
I definitely say J. Cole has been one of my influences, not only because of the music, but I met him at one point in time. I met him at a restaurant that I was working at when I was about 17 years old. And when I say it changed my life for the better, it really did, because his music is what got me through some hard times and also was what made me really appreciate the things I was going through. I definitely say also Kendrick Lamar. I definitely love paying homage to old rappers for sure. Rakim, Nas, Ghostface. I love Wu-Tang. I pride myself on the music that I listen to. Like it pours into me, like it doesn't take away from me, because I don't like all that like money rap and like where people consistently talk about all the things they have. Like teach me something, you know what I'm saying? Like that's the music I genuinely appreciate, you know.
Are there any young rappers today that you would say people need to listen to, but they don't listen to, that can teach us something?
That's a good one. Most of the young rappers that
what's his name? Corday? Something Corday. I like his music.
Yeah, YBN Corday. I definitely like his music. He's really good.
Okay, I'm gonna have to look. I got some notebook. Let me write that down now. How do is Corday? What is it, Tracy? C-O-R?
I don't know. Ask the young man.
Yeah.
Okay, Corday.
C-O-R-D-A-E. Yeah.
And so let me tell you, I have a musician. He only had one album, and you know I moved in January, and I'm still excavating all the crap I moved. Right. So I was going through my CDs. I cannot throw them away. I'm throwing away the cases, but I'm keeping the album, like the art and the CDs in the case. They're gonna be given away and gifted to somebody one day. You know, in 80 years when I die. I claim, 120 years on earth. In 80 years when I die, they'll be given away as a keepsake. But I want to share with everybody out there this one album by this one artist. He had one album in it. The whole album, start to finish, was a masterpiece. I bought the album in 2004. I don't think anybody in the world may have bought it but me. The name of the album is called The Colored Section. I want you to write it down.
You, Donnie, baby.
You know Donnie too?
Welcome to the color set.
You know what? Did you buy the album in 2004 back in the day?
I stole it from my homeboy. I found it in my homeboy's house. I was like, the color section. What is it? Man, I got it.
You know what? Michael, there was a time when Black people were not woke, brother. Like, they were not woke. And some of us were woke before people were woke. And so if your homeboy was listening to Donnie, because that album is the epitome of what it meant to be woke in the 2000s, when everybody was listening to pop and everybody was listening to a whole bunch of nonsense, Donnie was a representation of what it really meant to be woke. Donnie, the color section, Candace says she just downloaded it. Michael, you can listen to this album from the beginning to the end, and every song is going to teach you lessons about things like colorism, about how society has used the Black man.
Yes. Ooh.
And it's beautiful. His voice is amazing.
I'm definitely going to look into that.
I mean, Sci-Hi the Prince. Sci-Hi the Prince.
Okay.
He's a writer. He was a writer for Kanye West. But I think 2 years ago, he dropped an album. Y'all, he made me want to go set up shop in Africa, man. Just talking about how to recreate Africa within us and taking us back to our roots, man.
Are you going to go with Omar? You're going to go with Omar to Africa, Morocco. He was a guest on our show, Michael, not long ago. So I want everyone to, if you have TikTok, we definitely want you to follow G-Code on TikTok. And this is his TikTok. You will be very happy with the content that he creates. It is extremely good content. He's always been, when I found him, and I've been following you for months. And I just got on TikTok during the pandemic. So I haven't been on TikTok long, but I think you were one of the first creators that I saw. And I have been a fan of your work since. On Instagram, you can also follow him on Instagram. And it's also the same, Official G-Code on Instagram. And you also, can follow him, and then you can see him there. Candace has asked us a good question. And before we go into our new format, I do want to, address the question. And Tracy, you'll be very happy with the format. Tracy has been adamant about the time that we spend in the live cast. So I found a creative way of putting our topics and timing things out just for my baby, so she will not quit this show.
Oh, that is not true. Time out. Here's the thing. Here's the reason why. Because I start taping people at 7, 8 in the morning. And the reason I was late is because I had a client until 8:30, and then I had to pray for somebody.
And that's the work, though, Tracy. That's the work. But really, Candy wants to know, how do we feel about converting over to African spirituality? And Candy, while I'm giving everybody some think time, I have a clear. Let me tell you something. I believe that all elements of spirituality are combined and are one. We live on one planet. We are in one universe, and really ultimately created by one God. So personally, even there can be all types of derivatives of religion. I think everything goes back to one source and one creator. So personally, I feel as though any level of spirituality is going to lead you to the ultimate truth. And that truth is your truth. I believe that God has given every single person a different path to follow. And your goal in life is just to simply follow that path to get to the ultimate purpose of which you were given life. And whether that is through a traditional Western Christianity path, or if it's through an African spirituality path, but nonetheless, you're going to get there. So I believe go where your heart leads you, because God is in your heart telling you what is right for you. If you are attracted to African spirituality, then that's the path that God may mean for you to go today. May not be the path he wants you to go on tomorrow, but it's the path he wants you to go on today. And that's coming from someone who lives in a blended religious household, as you know. And we'll leave that there because I don't talk about that too much.
Well, I'll just say I don't know enough about African spirituality, and I'm not ashamed to say that. I just have not. And I said this when, when Morocco was on the call, is that I've never had a connection to Africa. in the States. I have a strong connection with my community, but my experience with a lot of Africans in my life, they've not been kind to me. So it's never, I'm just being honest, they just never really welcomed me. Like I had a African professor who would dog me out all the time because I was an athlete and I would have to leave for a couple of days to go play a game out of town, and he would just, you people, you Black Americans. And so I just never really had I never took to African culture as much. I as I've gotten older, I have, but so maybe I'll do a little research on it. But my experience with Africans in America has not been very positive.
I refer to myself. Oh, I'm sorry. Did I cut you off? Well, I refer to myself as a conscious Christian, which is the main reason why I have the platform that I have, because I realized that in order to be a Black Christian, I feel like you have to realize the ways that your religion has been perverted, because the Bible was at one time was perverted. The word of God was perverted at one time, and it was used to enslave people. So I feel like there is an awareness that needs to be had that our religion at one time, which is supposed to be our relationship with God and not just our religion with God, we do have to realize that at one point in time, it was used to enslave people. So therefore, there are going to be Black Americans who simply do not want to believe in Christianity, but people fail to realize that Christianity was already involved within our African civilizations before the Westerners came in and they colonized it. So I think what people do need to realize is that with the Bible being such a powerful tool, it is easy to manipulate people and it is easy to pervert words in the Bible. That's why you have to be careful what you quote, because what you quote from the Bible is not necessarily what it means. People need to realize that what you say, and when they say, well, the Bible says this, that's your own interpretation of what the Bible says. God wants us to love everybody. Therefore, you have no reason and you have no right to use anything in the Bible to demonize anybody, because that's the same thing as what they did to Jesus, the law of man and religion within being the law of man. We take up stones so many times instead of our crosses. We literally take up stones against people. And that's the main thing. Even when Jesus crossed that line and said, he who's without sin can cast the first stone, they dropping rocks. The problem is we're all picking up too many rocks and we're throwing them at people. We're throwing them at people that are different. We're throwing them at the LGBTQ community. We have no right to do that. It's your job to love people. That's simply it. It is your job to love people, because before, and even as it says in the Bible, focus on the plank in your eye before you look at the speck in your brother's. We do that way too much because we overstep our bounds as Christians. At the end of the day, you need to love somebody. There's no one-size-fits-all approach to converting somebody to Christianity or bringing somebody into your religion, which is a religion of love. You cannot argue somebody into Christianity. You cannot logic somebody into Christianity. The only thing you can do is love somebody into Christianity. And the problem is we have such a savior complex within Christianity that people have negative experiences with. We think that saying, hey, you're going to hell because you're doing X, Y, and Z. You have no right to say that. You cannot say that, because if anything, you're going to hell for condemning a person and you're speaking negativity over their life. The only thing you can do is love that person and bring them in. And people love to say, well, what if this person was doing this? Everybody at one point in time, we were born into sin. People fail to realize that you were not born a Christian. You were born into sin. So therefore, what you have to know is that you need to have that same amount of grace that God had for you and that same amount of love that God had for you when you bring people in. The conscious part of my Christianity is knowing how my religion was used. The conscious part of my Christianity is knowing how there are Black Christians who have traumatized people, how there are Black churches that have traumatized people and pushed people away. I have no reason to say you can't worship with me. We as Christians tend to attach our faith to our political reasonings. And that's another reason why people don't like Christians. It's the honest truth, because people will use Christianity to justify anything. Well, the Bible says this about homosexuality. That does not mean you can demonize a person for what they're doing with their life. You need to love that person. Well, the Bible says this about these people, or about prostitutes X and Y and Z. God used everybody in the Bible. God used a Christian killer in the Bible. So who are you to judge a person for their past? God used a woman who was a prostitute in the Bible. So who are you to judge somebody for what they do with their body? A person's the limitations that man puts on people does not affect how God can use them. And I will say that to the end of time, because they are prisoners that God is using to testify to somebody. There are sex workers that God will use to testify to somebody. And that's the thing people don't really want to hear, because we're so caught up in the religion aspect. We're so caught up in the man-made aspect of religion that we forget the spirituality, and we forget the forgiveness and the grace that comes with everything as well. God is waiting for us. It literally says, the Lord is my shepherd and I shall not want. That means even as a shepherd, he will go and get you. It's not the sheep's job to go and get people. As Christians, we're here to be intercessors and we're here to be fishermen. Being a fisherman means you're going to pull in fish that you don't like. You're going to pull in fish that you don't agree with. You're going to pull in fish that aren't ideal with the way that you are. There is no rescuing the perfect person, but it's your job to pull that person in and love them and let God work through them. Let God work through you, you know? So that's the main part of like the consciousness of my Christianity is I'm very loving within my religion, because there's so much lack of love within Christianity. And people are all stuck with thinking this one way and this one shoe fits all approach to converting people. That's not how I move in my Christianity. I say, hey, yo, you know what? I love you, bro. Or I love you, sis, or whatever your pronouns are. That does, because I believe in God and because I have my faith, that does not mean I'm going to ignore. How do you want to be treated? Oh, these are your pronouns. Oh, you identify as this? Cool. I'll refer to you as that because I love you. I have no right to judge you. You know what I'm saying? The same way you have no right to judge me. So with that consciousness in my relationship I have with God, even though it's not perfect at times, I'm loving. So that's the consciousness in my religion. I'm not loving only perfect people, because if I love only perfect people, I'm still perverting my religion, because I'm projecting what perfection is supposed to be onto you. And the only thing perfect is God. And the only being perfect is God. You know what I'm saying?
A word on top of a word on top of a word tonight.
You gotta come on and preach to the people, preach to the man.
You really right. Correct. And I think that's a great way to transition. So one thing that our book of the month, first book club selection is we've given you 3 months to read the book, stand from the beginning. So much of what he said is in this book. You need to read it. Time is running out. So please, if you haven't read Stand from the Beginning, read the book. We're going to have a discussion towards the end of the month. It's perfect reading weather. You can go outside, get under a nice tree. You can open a window, enjoy a nice cup of coffee, and just read. And the book is massive. It's mammoth. Okay, it's mammoth. But you can pick certain sections because it's divided up by certain people. And I would recommend, if you only read one section, I would say you have to read 2, W.E.B. Du Bois as well as Angela Davis. Read those 2 sections if you don't want to read the whole book, but it's worth it and it's going to change your life. It is, to me, an essential step, an essential piece of element towards becoming aware. And that's right, Annette, you can do an audiobook. The book was free all summer on Spotify. I don't know if it's still free. It may still be free. You can listen to the whole book on tape on Spotify. With that being said, one thing that that we always do, Michael, is we talk about the up, the down, and the clown. And we are going to organize our topics. So instead of having topics and then going to the up, down, we're just going to do the up, the down, and the clown. And it's always important to start with the good news. Let's go first into the up. And this is the good news of the week. And everybody, it's been a hard couple of weeks for all of us. If you're a Black person, it's been hard. If you are a decent human being, it's been hard. But this week we got a little bit of good news concerning this case. We got a little bit of good news concerning the Breonna Taylor case. 2 weeks ago, we heard from the Kentucky Attorney General Daniel Cameron when he stood before the people and he said that there would be no charges made in the murder of Breonna Taylor. That the only charges we made were for endangering neighbors. So basically, the bullets that hit Breonna weren't going to result in charges, but the bullets that missed her neighbors would. And I simply said, well, that's that. There's nothing we can do but cry, get upset, and be heartbroken. But thank God, one of the jurors in the case came forward and said that there were a number of things that were not appropriately presented, and that because of that, they had no choice but to rule as they did. Now there is a massive outcry about releasing information quickly and having possibly even an investigation into everything that happened. And that is, to me, some really good news. There is still a chance in this world that we will get justice for Breonna Taylor. Everyone, what do you think about this?
I think that woman deserves justice. The whole situation as a whole has been a tragedy. And honestly, the verdict even showed how much Black women are not protected within our society. It shows that some drywall is worth more than a Black woman's life. And a lot of people aren't going to take it that way, but people need to realize how harmful that is, especially in regards to this. So Breonna Taylor is going to get justice. I'll speak that into existence. She's going to get her justice. But this also shows how twisted and corrupted the system is continuously, because with all these new things coming out, when they said they didn't have body cam footage as opposed to body cam footage now revealing, I thought you just said there was no body cam footage.
And that's right.
So I definitely believe that this just exposes the corruption within the system even more, because the system isn't broken because it doesn't work in favor of African Americans or Black people here. It's working the way it's supposed to work to maintain and keep those in power. But I definitely believe that the system does need to be taken down and rearranged so that it works in favor of everybody as opposed to just them, because that woman had her life taken away from her. And it was unjustly, and it was tragic. It did not deserve to happen that way.
Tracy, what are your thoughts?
My sentiments, exactly. I just want corrupt people to get in trouble. I want, I am so sick and tired of our justice system and people who are involved in it being corrupt and getting away with it, getting away with murder. So I'm just waiting for the day that all these people taken down and get exposed.
I have really done a lot of thinking about this, right? Like, this has been something that has weighed heavy on me, and I know it has weighed heavy on the minds of many Black people and decent human beings in general. And one, I believe firmly that, because I really have to question Daniel Cameron. I really want to have a real talk with this man to understand, why would you not want justice for Breonna Taylor? What has happened to you in the course of your life to lead you in this path? This man was a college athlete. He played on teams with Black men. He dated and married a Black woman at an earlier point in his life. He was raised in a Black family, and he pledged a Black fraternity. Daniel Cameron's a member of Phi Beta Sigma. I want to know how you go from all of that to where you are today. It would have been a dream come true for many Black people to be the actual prosecutor in this case. I believe that Daniel Cameron chose to prosecute this case, which is extremely unorthodox for an attorney general to do, so that he could throw the case in the favor of the police officers. I believe he did this as a favor to Mitch McConnell and Donald Trump and a number of other Republican politicians in exchange for possibly being the actual next Black Supreme Court justice in the event Donald Trump is able to steal the election. But I want to know why you would want your success or what you would deem to be success to supersede justice for any person, period, let alone a person of color. I just really want to know. I just want to know.
I can answer that. When you make a deal with the devil, you are willing to do whatever it takes to get power and position and money. That's it. There's nothing else.
The question I have too, guys, as we, are excited about the possibility of justice, what do you feel that we can do to continue to push for justice for Breonna and for everybody else who's still in this fight? What can we do? What is within our power at this point?
Voting. People don't seem to understand the power of voting. And the thing is, I have this conversation with so many people, especially within my group, on a regular basis. I don't want to vote. The system is already rigged, blah, 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 blah. Your government elections, your nationwide government elections, there's going to be something mess with those. But your state elections, that's where everything lies. People don't research their state representatives. They don't represent anybody, any Supreme Court justices. People don't research people in their own backyards. Everybody is so involved with, oh, this is going to affect me on a national scale. No, you need to look at everything from who your child's superintendents are in their school systems. Okay, anybody that you can vote on within your district and in your city, in your state. That's where the real research lies. That's what people really need to do. That's the truth. And a lot of people just aren't trying to be involved with that. They're like, I don't want to get involved with politics. I don't want to do this and that and the third. Well, don't complain when something doesn't work out in your favor because you didn't research your own people in your own state. That's right. Where it starts. Fundamentally, you have to look at the people in your own state because ultimately they have an even greater influence over you in conjunction with people who are in the government. So I would definitely say start at your own state.
It'd be different if we voted in droves every election and didn't get what we desired. You know, we vote one time and that person mess up, that's it. We not voting no more. We didn't get what we wanted.
Exactly.
We didn't get what we wanted in them 2 years, so I'm not voting no more. My vote doesn't count. Right. It's the most ridiculous thing. We will be more consistent going to get a Georgia lottery ticket every day
and losing.
It just makes no sense to me.
Honestly, it doesn't.
And it's proven, when, every time we've had a democratically elected president of the United States, it has been because Black voter turnout has exceeded the 60% threshold. Yeah. John Kerry only got 55% of black voter turnout that year. We didn't win. The same thing happened with Hillary Clinton getting, I think, 56%. But President Obama got, I think, 66% and then 68%. When Black people turn out to vote, regardless of who they vote for, the Democrat typically comes out on top. So that's very important. I want to say, of course, you both know I say voting. In addition to voting, we have to have an organized, systemic way of holding those we elect accountable. We can't just vote for Joe Biden and Kamala Harris. We have to then hold Joe Biden and Kamala Harris accountable. In the same way that Zachary, in the same way that Zachary is making TikToks to help get them elected and educate around the issues, I'm going to make TikToks that critique them and hold them accountable to a high level of accountability. I'm going to make posts that explore what they do and why it's good or why it's bad from my vantage point. Those things matter. We have to be able to have those critical conversations, as Annette said, but we also have to develop and identify the next generation of leader like Michael Graham and help cultivate him and support him as he grows and moves forward. We have to identify these individuals in our world and we have to push them forward with our resources. When you get to a certain point and a certain age and a certain social stature, it's time to donate. It's time to take your money. We give a lot of money to the church. We do, and that's fine. We should, if that's your faith. We also give a whole lot of money back to institutions. You want to support your HBCU, Tracy. I would want to support my, Mississippi State Bulldogs, which I don't. But thank y'all for putting me in that alumni magazine.
You should support Mississippi Valley State or Alcorn State.
Well, I didn't go there.
If you went to school.
Let me tell you something right now. If those presidents sat up there and prayed with Donald Trump, they will never get $1 of my money until that president is gone. Now I'm gonna tell you that right here and right now.
President of Mississippi State is good.
He ain't publicly supporting Donald Trump because he knows the outcry he would get from the students that attended, because we don't play those games. But what I will say, I don't believe in giving any money to these federally funded institutions. I'm not giving the dollar. But what I would do with my money instead, and what I'm saying we should do, is give that money to young candidates, to young politicians that aren't heavily funded. There are politicians out there like Joe Biden who have lots of money and huge reach. And yep, this year I've given to Joe. But next year, when there isn't a presidential election, we should be also donating however much money you give to Joe Biden. You give that to a Michael Graham, a young person who has got the vision to move forward. AOC didn't come out of nowhere. There is another AOC right now in Raleigh. There's another ALC right now in Atlanta. There's another ALC right down in Mississippi, but they don't have the financial backing to get there. It's our responsibility to get them there. It's our funds that we have to give to cultivate this talent, and that's what we have to do.
Yeah.
So
Black institutions have always historically been underfunded and undersupported, especially in our community. I mean, I'm dealing with that right now in terms of my theater company in Chicago. A lot of Black artists speak so negatively about the theater company, and we're like, well, you don't support us, you don't fund us, you don't advocate for us, but you advocate for the white institution.
Right.
And that's the problem.
I see you fighting to get on their stage, you're not fighting to get on ours. What's the point? Oh, it's because we're not funded. You know, we don't have the visibility. Well, the reason we don't is because y'all don't support us either. So why would they fund us if y'all don't? So.
And see, to me, Tracy, that's where the money needs to go, and that's our work. So, you know, in addition to our up, we had some up, but we also, of course, have some down. And the down of the week are the things that really are not so positive, hard to talk about, but things that we do need to talk about. And Tracy, you look at the picture of the Get Down. It's an old show. It only made it for a couple episodes, but it was a good show. Get Down was a good show.
I heard it was good. I didn't get to see it. It was what? How many episodes? 6?
I think they made 2 seasons of the Get Down.
Okay.
And so our down, the first down that we have this week is the increase in COVID-19 cases in nearly half the United States, and probably an increase in even more places, but we just don't know, because of how they are reporting information. It used to be that all the information went to the CDC. Now it goes to the federal government. Some people are not even reporting information anymore. We found that out. I know in Georgia, school systems are choosing to not report COVID cases, and they have that choice to make. And so we're seeing an increase in COVID-19 cases again. I want to know kind of what your thoughts are on the increase in COVID-19 and what we need to be doing right now to move forward as the pandemic shows no signs of really slowing down. I think we're getting ready for the second wave.
We are.
It's been, most definitely, because I live in North Carolina. So UNC Chapel Hill is literally maybe about 30 minutes from me, and I live in Durham. I have numerous friends and colleagues who attend the University of North Carolina in Chapel Hill. They had a move-in day within 2 days. Within about 3, everybody was moving back off campus because of the spike surges in COVID. There was COVID in the dorm buildings. You're getting COVID results in the apartments. You got 40 people at an apartment pool. Then you got ECU. Then you got all the other schools surrounded in North Carolina. Then you have schools that are doing it the smart way, that aren't letting everybody in. The school I'll be transferring to in January, thankfully, is UNC Charlotte. They're not letting everybody in on time. They're phasing people in. Their COVID procedures are a little bit more different. They're flexible. You know, they're focused more on the safety of their students instead of just, boom, let's open up the school, let's get the money in. Because the main thing that I see a lot is these colleges are now saying, you're not going to get your deposit back. You're not going to get your room and board back refunded if we have to send you guys home. That was a huge thing. And then look at it. As soon as UNC Chapel Hill was sending students home, all you hear is students talking about, we can't get this refunded. We're not getting our housing refunded. Mind you, housing can go from $2,500 to $4,000. The school pretty much just did a catch and grab and then sent everybody home, you know. But thankfully, there are some students who have been able to get their financial aid money back. But what do you say to the foreign exchange students, the people who don't even live in the state of North Carolina? You know, like, it's affecting students as well on an economic level. They're not talking about how much they're charging students for these COVID tests. They're not talking about how they're charging students almost $50. $50 to a college student is well like a $500 for a COVID test on some of these campuses. They're not talking about
it was free.
Exactly. They're not talking about the lack of social distancing in some of these lines to get these COVID tests. So ultimately, these colleges are making a killing. They're getting their money from these students and sending them home. So one thing that I think should have been done was,
I had no idea.
Yeah, as a North Carolina resident, and especially as a young person, Twitter will get you information faster than the news will put out because it's people who are actually dealing with stuff. UNC Chapel Hill was trending for a smooth 2 weeks in regards to what COVID was. and COVID on campus, and along with all the parties that people were having that weren't supposed to be going down. If I'm misquoted, forgive me, but ECU had over 400 people at one party, and that's Eastern Carolina University. And from what I've heard from students who were there and friends who were there is they've already switched straight back to online classes, you know? So I definitely would have said, don't open the schools up so quickly, because there are schools who have low to almost no COVID cases because they didn't open up quickly. They limited the amount of students that were able to come in during the semester. I think things should have been a little bit more organized, but it also exposed the institution that college is a cash cow. That's what they're hungry for. Yeah. You know, it's the money from the students. So I think the best thing to do is either phase students in slowly, be more rigorous with the COVID testing, be more rigorous with quarantining, or just putting people back in quarantine. I also believe that masks need to be enforced more, because staying in North Carolina, in the Carolinas, masks were not getting enforced like that. Even with quarantine, stage 1 of quarantine, don't leave the house. It just wasn't getting enforced like that. It wasn't as serious. As opposed, you look at some of these other countries, my mother's home country, Panama, they were saying if you're caught out on the street during this point in time, you have to help clean up the street. That's the best incentive to get people to stay home. And the COVID cases are lowering, you know, so it's a lack of accountability on parts of people who are like, oh, I don't believe in this. And people who are like, oh, well, I have this condition, I can't wear a mask. I had pre-existing asthma. I'm pretty sure if I can wear a mask, you can wear a mask, you know? So it's, I think accountability is one thing, but also people are just stubborn too. So I think if you enforce masks a little bit more, people will start to get the message.
It's true.
You know, I think it's 100. I agree, it's 100% true. I definitely feel as though we had missed the mark. If we would have locked down from April until July, we would probably be in a situation where we would have very few COVID cases to where the United States can move forward. We had a chance to show the world the United States could be the United States, but now we're actually the embarrassment of the world with 7 million cases of COVID-19 confirmed and over 200,000 people dead from the virus. So, you know, with that, I want to go now. You know, we had the up, we have the down. It's time for the clown. And I had to find an image, Tracy, that would represent this clown each week. And I found this. I feel as though this is the perfect example. Because we've had President Trump as the clown continuously. And so this is his original regime. Of the original regime, none of them actually are still in place. They're all gone. The only one who's still standing is the head clown himself, the one and only Donald Trump. But this week's clown for everyone out there goes to this man. Did you guys watch the debate?
I watched it. I was taping all weekend, so all week, so I haven't had time. But I watched the clips on YouTube, the CNN clips, and
so that's good. I'm glad you said that, because you know I watched it from beginning to end. But from the coverage of what you saw in clips, from what you've seen in the media, what do you think happened?
What do I think happened? Chaos. This was chaos. We did not have a moderator who could really I don't think he was terrible considering the two people he had up there. But I will say that he needed to really hold the president accountable by stopping him, you know, dead in the middle of the, he just was not I think the president is a bully, so people are afraid of him. But I think they're going to fix it. I think they're going to fix it with these microphones.
Yeah, I don't want any more debates. I do not want another debate. Let me tell you why. Because let me tell you why. It's based on what you just said, Tracy. I have seen a lot of people on social media say how both of them had an issue, and they both didn't have. And I'm not just saying this because I'm a Biden supporter and a Biden fan. Because I'm really, I didn't expect much out of Biden. I'm going to be honest. I really didn't know what Biden was going to do when he got up there. Donald Trump really there is a lot of underlying strategy to what he did that I don't know if people realize. Donald Trump wasn't up there being himself. Donald Trump wanted to get Joe Biden to stutter. Donald Trump wanted to trip Joe Biden up. If you have a stutter, you have to think 2 steps ahead about what you're going to say. And there's a lot of speech therapy that goes into helping you articulate and formulate your thoughts and your words. When you interrupt someone who has a stutter, that is always typically a trigger for them to stutter because you broke their chain of thought and they don't usually know how to stop themselves, and it results in the stutter. Donald Trump wanted that to happen. He wanted Joe to look like he was, disheveled and discombobulated. It didn't work. Joe Biden did an excellent job of steering through, and he used the strategy of smiling to get himself together. He was smiling so much because that was how he was, I'm sure, taught by his debate coach to get it together, to hold it together, to not break apart. Joe Biden, I think, gave all the right punches at the right time. It's just that Donald Trump's behavior was so over the top that that's all people could focus on, and they didn't focus on how Joe responded.
I really wanted Joe Biden to go deeper in the gutter. The moment that man said that his son was a crackhead, all bets are off. I'm not smiling no more. I'm not being politically correct. I'm about to say, I'm going to call a thing a thing, and I'm about to tell you about yourself. Like, it really, for me, the gloves would have been off. That's all I'm saying. That's what I would have wanted from.
But how would this? You know what? I agree with you, but let me give you the opposite argument. Republicans and Donald Trump was appealing to his base. That's what he's doing by shouting out the Proud Boys and all these stomp speeches. This is what he's counting on. He is counting on the Trump MAGA base coming out in full force and everybody else being afraid to come out and suppressed. Because he knows that there are more people in America who don't want him to win and who hate him than who want him to win. But if we stay home, he's going to win. So he wasn't trying to win us over. He was just simply trying to excite his base of supporters.
Right.
Joe Biden had a different goal. If Joe Biden would have gone low on Donald Trump, he would have possibly lost some of those independent, undecided voters, although it's only about 4 of them in the world. But he would have also angered the white women that he needs to come out. He needs them out. He needs them to come out. Because to be honest with you, they're the ones who are going to decide this election. The black vote is too fragile, and they're already peeling off because they're easily suppressed. The Hispanic Latino vote, Joe Biden can only win this election through the white vote, period.
That's what I said. I was like,
they're the only electors who count at this moment.
Y'all want to do anything for us, go out and vote, honey. That's how
Mike, what did you think?
I definitely believe that the debate was interesting, to be frank. But the thing is, it was an argument of ego. It was pretty much a lot of ego, because the thing is, Joe Biden suppressed a lot of himself, because we tend to think politicians aren't humans. You talked about that man's son.
Yeah.
Joe Biden wasn't being offensive. The thing is, you went after an emotional trigger for him. So for him to be able to maintain his composure, and he did slip up, he said, man, shut up. He told Donald Trump to shut up, but Donald Trump continuously talked over him. Donald Trump did not control the debate in any sort of way because he wasn't making any valid points. And that's my personal opinion. He didn't make any valid points, but he was able to keep getting on Joe. And the thing is, some people would say Joe should have shown more defense. But the thing is, the second Joe would have gone on the offense, I believe, just like you said, Zachary, he probably would have lost voters, and he probably could lose supporters because they're like, oh, well, you're stooping down to his level. And then all the Trump supporters would have been like, yeah, we got to him. He's sensitive. And then that would just been a reflection of everybody who votes for Joe Biden. So I definitely think it was the moderator's fault, too, because it's the moderator's responsibility to moderate. You're supposed to control the flow of conversation. You can't allow somebody to just interject and cut in on somebody else's 2 minutes when they already have theirs. So definitely what the moderator did, he didn't do a good job of what he was there for. If anything, he just provided a play-by-play. He said, what do you think about this? And what do you think about this? What do you think about this? That's all. I'm
going to go back and watch because I didn't
What were you saying, Tracy?
I said, I'm going to go back and watch it then because from the clips, and I thought that he was doing a really good job of saying, let him talk. Let him finish. I thought that's what the clips showed me. They were like 5 or 6
Let me tell you what he did. This is two things that he did that were inappropriate. 3 times during the debate, he said, well, Mr. President, you're going to like this question.
Oh.
He literally
it's that bias. It's the bias that keeps coming out.
Several times where he was really saying, feeding into the Trump base, very inappropriate and unprofessional. And in addition, he was telling Joe Biden to be quiet, and Joe Biden was doing it. He was saying, when Joe Biden tried to interrupt Trump, he nipped him, and Joe Biden responded respectfully and did it. Trump didn't respond and kept talking. That to me, again, this man was horrible at the debate. Chris Wallace, if he worked for a real news network, I would say he should be fired. But because he doesn't work for a real news network, he used to work for ABC News, and he was on Primetime Live with Diane Sawyer back in the day when I was a young man watching Primetime Live on Thursdays. But now he works for trash, and he's clearly become that same level of trash. Chris Wallace is the clown of the week. Here are some of the funny tweets that came out.
This Chris Wallace.
Well, it's the same name, Tracy. That is true. Here are 2 of the funniest tweets of the night. Tweet number 1.
That's a good one.
During the debate, President Trump was asked to condemn white supremacy.
He did not.
And he did not do it. What he said was, well, who do you want me to condemn? Acting as though he didn't know there were any white supremacists in the world. He didn't even know the name of these groups. And Joe Biden said, condemn the Proud Boys. The Proud Boys were formed in 2016 by the creator of Vice magazine. His last name is McGinnis. He is actually Canadian. And it is a white male show. It was created to be a white male group where they believe that white men are over everyone in the world. They are the superior race, according to what they believe. They believe that they are over white women, and they should have the right to have sex with any white woman they want, according to their tweets and the things that I could find online. Additionally, they believe that all Muslims should be used as their sex slaves, but not black people, because we're not worthy of having sex with, and for that reason. But we should also be enslaved so that we can serve them. They also believe that there should be no immigration. They believe that indigenous people should be exterminated. So there could be no claims to them as the owners of America. They shouldn't exist. And they also believe that every single person who identifies as LGBTQ should be raped and gang raped as a means of conversion therapy. They're going to give you the sex you want until you no longer want it. These are things that these people have tweeted. Some of the members have tweeted out. Now, in my research, I found out, after being corrected on TikTok, there are black people who are members of this organization. There are black and Latino men who call themselves Proud Boys. In the debate, Joe Biden asked Donald Trump to denounce them, and he said out of his mouth, he said, stand down. He said, Proud Boys, stand down.
No, he did not. He said, stand back.
Mm-hmm.
Well, he said, stand back and stand by. That is what he said out of his mouth. And they have blown up online. I can guarantee you they probably increased their recruitment efforts, and they probably even gained more members. That was, for me, a horrifying moment in American history.
But I guess my question to everyone who's so disappointed is this really was this a secret? Is this shocking to you all for someone who is a part of these organizations and who associates with these organizations to not condemn them? That's not surprising to me. That's like asking a Ku Klux Klan member, what do they call? What do they call the one in the red? The
Grand Dragon.
Red Dragon.
Grand Dragon.
The Grand Dragon, the Ku Klux Klan.
Asking him to condemn the Ku Klux. He's not going to do it.
You know, Tracy, you're right. You're right. But it's just such a shocking moment for an actual presidential nominee, let alone president, to do that. And the fact that people are still supporting it. There was a poor black lady, not Candace Owens, but it was a Candace. I had never seen her before in my life. Michael, you may know her. I had never seen this black lady in my life. And she's an attractive black woman. She was all over Twitter defending the Proud Boys and defending the president. It wasn't Candace Owens, but it was a Candace Owens-like woman.
Oh, okay.
All over Twitter defending the Proud Boys and defending the president, saying that they're not racist. And it's just shocking. At this point, anyone who can support President Trump is either a racist or stupid.
Ignoramus.
Honestly.
There's no way around it. And so, yeah, you know, here's another tweet. You were going to say, Tracy?
Well, I was going to answer Annette's question about why are you guys, I don't know if she's referring to us, outraged. I'm not outraged in this sense because I've known this about him. So I'm like, why would I be? This is him. This is who he is. He's shown us who he is. Why would I continue to be outraged? We've known this man since forever. This isn't new for me. I'm so calm because I'm okay. I'm not going to, what am I going to do? I'm not going to change him. I'm not going to change him.
Melissa Tate.
Correct. Because
the lady we're talking about is right here. This is Melissa Tate. Melissa Tate says she's a Christian conservative, a Trumplican, a wife and a mother, retweeted by President Trump. And this is one of her tweets. And she's talking about this Proud Boy is married to a black woman with interracial kids, and therefore they cannot be white supremacists.
People who use that are some of the most farthest gone people I've ever heard, because that's simply saying like, I have black friends, therefore I cannot be racist. That's like me saying because the thing is, people think that because you associate with somebody of a certain group, that automatically makes it that you're not racist. That just means you like that person of that group, but you don't like them as a whole. And to answer the question, personally, as somebody who was growing up in the South, I'm not surprised at racism within the system, because this system wasn't made for us in the first place. I personally know that I can protect my family, and I have the resources to protect my family if anything like that is to occur, whether in private or in public. So therefore, I'm not outraged. I'm just aware of what's going on. That's just being a black person in this society. You have to be aware. You know,
but you also have to understand too how sexual fetishes work. This man very well hate black people, but has a sexual connection to black women because he hates black people. And this black woman may hate herself and therefore have a sexual connection to her white oppressor that leads to their marriage. And pray and feel for those people that they're probably going to have the exact same psychosocial issues as their messed up parents.
Exactly.
There's no way you can love a black woman and be a proud boy. There's no way you can love a white man and let him be a proud boy.
Yeah,
exactly.
It's not possible.
You know what I'm noticing about a lot of the black Trump supporters? A lot of them are married or date white people.
Mm-hmm. It's that validation that they seek white validation, because I have no problem with you being a Republican, but the problem is when you spew anti-black rhetoric, that makes you against us as a people. That makes you against me. It doesn't matter if you associate with somebody, that makes you against me as an individual person, because that means you automatically loop me in with every single one of your messed up statistics, which are skewed statistics, by the way, and they're outdated statistics. And they don't even draw into the factors that make those statistics in the first place, because the main thing you hear is black on black crime. But the thing is, black on black crime is literally just a myth that was implanted by the media to make it seem as if black people are more susceptible to violence than other groups. Black on black crime is literally just proximity. Yep. If I throw a rock at anybody in this live, it's going to hit one of you both because you're in my proximity and you just so happen to be black. So the same thing happens in these white neighborhoods where people are getting frauded, or people are getting assaulted, houses are getting broken into. They don't call it white on white crime, but that's the same proximity effect. You hurt those around you. And then if you got to look into the other factors that cause black people to be around each other, like the redlining and the block busting that people want to gaslight and seem never happen, that's where you get black on black crime from. Because if it was people in these regular neighborhoods and these mixed neighborhoods of white people, Latinos, black people, it wouldn't be called black on black crime. That's just that's crime in proximity, which is what a lot of black conservatives or Republicans have the tendency to say. So when it comes to black Trump supporters, they're seeking white validation by saying the same anti-black rhetoric that their oppressors have said. The only thing is, it's validated because they have black skin. That's literally it, and that's why they're
more dangerous than white Trump supporters.
Oh yeah,
black Trump supporters are more dangerous to me than white Trump supporters because they're undermining all of us. And Candy, Tracy's going to give us a comment, but Candy, I want you to tell us how your boss is treating you different. I want to know, like, how is that the case, Tracy?
No, I was just going to say, like, Polo, who was his name? Polo the Don, the music producer here in Atlanta, who got a shout out at the Trump rally the other day and was up on stage with Donald Trump. And when he was asked why he was supporting him, he was just like, I'm just against politics as usual, and he represents something that's other than what we're used to. Why not? What do we have to lose? And then people go back and do research on him, and he calls himself the king of white women. So it's like, I'm just like, wow. If you are black and you support Trump, I don't know if I could sit across the table from you. I don't know if I can have an uncomfortable conversation with you.
Yeah, he's done. I'm glad you told me that. I mean, I will never listen to another song he's been able to produce ever.
And it's a million of them. Now, he's produced a lot, but I used to work out with him, with Jody, the super trainer. We used to work out at Panthersville Stadium. And I was like, yeah, he like white girls because he bring them. And he does not speak to the black women that he works out with. It's a clear self-hate thing.
It's self-hatred.
And so Candy said that her boss barely responds to messages or emails. He doesn't help with escalations, even tried to search for stuff I'm doing wrong. My CSO called him out on a call and told him to step up because he even noticed it. And that's unfortunate. So I'm assuming that your boss is white. And so, that's very, very unfortunate. And so, I'll pray for you. I'll definitely tonight say a very deep prayer for you so that because you shouldn't have to go through that. And I absolutely believe that these type of machinations are happening at a time like this. The last tweet to share on this issue is this one. The debate explained in one picture. This is one of the ones that that's also kind of gone viral and made it big. If you look at the debate in one picture, I personally feel as though Joe Biden did as well as could be expected. I think Chris Wallace was horrible. I think that Donald Trump was himself, and I don't think that anyone should have been, overly surprised at what he did. This is a time in the show where we now talk about the products that we love. And I want you to think, Michael, about some things that you love, or a product, or a food, or a restaurant, or anything out there that you want to give a shout out to for anyone that is listening. And so, Tracy, I chose this image here of a black woman and all the different terms that we can think of for our black women, as our black women are under constant assault in 2020. So that would be our image for the products that we love because we love black women. Oh, I'm sorry, that was the best. I forgot the best of us, and that's Lizzo. My bad, I skipped on. This is the best of us. Lizzo is on the new cover of Vogue magazine talking about activism and the election. Have you guys been keeping up with Lizzo?
I have not, but I love her music.
Follow Lizzo on TikTok, Michael. Follow her on TikTok.
I do. She's amazing.
Yeah, her TikTok is really good. Tracy, you would like it as well because of her vegan recipes.
What was, I'm sorry, what was sheer stupidity? And I'm sorry, I'm kind of tired.
Okay. Asking earlier, she was talking about Trump's the debate.
Oh, okay. I'm not a Lizzo fan, so I'm not gonna follow her.
Okay, tell us why. Tell us why you don't like Lizzo. See, I didn't know this.
Her music doesn't appeal to me. Every time I see her on the Shade Room, I'm like, oh, she just does the most for me. Like she do the most. Same with like, I like Megan Thee Stallion, and then every time I look up, she twerking, showing her ass. I'm like, is there something else to you? So I'm glad to know that in Vogue, she's talking about something other than showing her ass and twerking.
Yeah, I'm a big Megan Thee Stallion fan. Not just because she's in college, although that makes me really like her a lot. But she's on the cover of Time magazine as the top 100. The most influential 100 Americans. And so Meg is actually really trying to use her platform in a very clever way to have influence. Even the song with Cardi B, right? WAP has an underlying message of not only female empowerment, but of what they feel should be praised in the Black community. The power of what they're talking about and the, marriage, all these good things. So, I'm a fan. And now with Lizzo, in terms of her music, I'm not crazy about her voice, but I do like her message. And I do like what she stands for in terms of body. She was really to me, the first Black celebrity to really emphasize and embrace body positivity in a way that was consumed by the masses. Yes, I know Monique did it. But it wasn't well received because of her delivery. Lizzo planned out not only the message, but a way of delivering it to the people that was well received. So
that's true.
And again, now Candy says that the Shade Room purposely tears down people in general, and they, select who they elevate and who they tear down.
I agree.
And I do agree.
I do agree.
The Shade Room kind of does that. Michael, what do you think about Lizzo? Oh, you said you didn't really know much about her. You hadn't followed her. She's not a fan.
I don't follow her on social media, but I do love what she does in embracing her figure, because there aren't a lot of plus size artists that openly embrace their weight, especially with just how plus size women get treated in general. So I definitely am on board with what she's doing. Even though I may not like what she does, like, I still support like the main thing she's doing, which is bringing awareness to voting, which is one of the most crucial things that not a lot of people really want to do. And since she's taken that extra step to even go to a Vogue magazine and have that quoted, like, take your protest to the ballot box, I think that's powerful, because not too many people would do stuff like that. Other people would say stuff speaking about themselves, but instead she chose to direct something at her fan base and at people in general, So I definitely, I'm on board with that. I support that.
I agree. And Annette says Plus has been in. We know Annette. Plus has been in. Go and see the Kirks, Mississippi. Every Kirk in Mississippi is Plus. So I agree. Plus has been in. And when you hate plus size women, you hate your mama and your sister. So exactly. That goes right back to what Michael had said earlier about people that have issues in colorism. So with, proud of Lizzo, proud that she's on Vogue, and I'm proud of Vogue for expanding and breaking down their perceptions, even though they probably didn't have much of a choice. I had another good question, but I forgot it. We had a good question, but it's gone. So we're gonna move on though into the products that we love, and the first product that I want to highlight is one of Tracy's products. Tracy, we talked about this paint. This is the third live cast where we talked about this paint. We see the paint on the wall. This is Tracy painting the wall. Tracy, tell us about your paint.
Okay, so Lizzie Mathis and Issa Raman were on the show a few weeks ago, and Lizzie talked about Nicole Gibbons, who is the creator of Claire paint. And I bought some that night because I knew I was moving into my new home and wanted to paint my wall. And I promise you all, this is one coat. One freaking coat, and it's just so thick and rich and just beautiful when you see it on the inside. So, I mean, I live by this product. Black-owned company by a Black woman. So I'm excited about that.
And so how long did it take you to get the paint? So for anyone out there considering buying, they got paint work to do, how long did it take you to get the paint so they can know how to time their delivery?
like 2 or 3 days. It was, I got the sample, the swatch, like in a couple days. And then after I made my choice, another 2 or 3 days after that. So it wasn't a long process at all.
Do they have any glitter paint?
I don't know. I didn't look. I was looking specifically, Candace, for gray. So I didn't even.
And the website is Clare, Clare. You can go on there, Clare. And so, Candace is buying her home and she hired your inspector. So
Eddie Jones, everybody. Yeah.
And so he's going to be great, Candace, and you're going to enjoy that, I think. And you'll give us an update and let us know how it goes. But I do support Clare, love the paint. So, Michael, what products have you thought of, brother, to share with us? And then I'm going to come back to you for this week's products.
I just want to send a huge shout out to my sponsor, which is Nail Me Down. It is a Black-owned company by a Black woman. I love exfoliating my skin and taking care of my skin, and I'm trying to normalize Black men exfoliating and taking care of their skin, especially within our community, because we have the tendency to think that because you take care of your skin, that makes you less of a man, when I think it makes you even more. So personally, I use a moisturizing sugar scrub from Nail Me Down, and I also use the body butter as well.
How do I spell nail?
Nail Me Down, NAIL. medown.com, and you can use my code officialGCO for 15% off. And they also have the most amazing sugar scrubs. They sent me 2 specifically because of how much I use sugar scrubs, and it'll definitely help you out. Especially with it getting colder, sugar scrubs are great for the winter, and it'll help make your skin feel really smooth and you'll feel great.
Where are they from?
I believe they're out of Atlanta, actually. I haven't talked to the owner. I actually need to talk to her after this live.
Well, what's your code?
Official GCO. So OFFICIALGIC0E.
This is so crazy, Michael. I have been looking, Zachary Kirk has been looking for skincare products specifically from a Black entrepreneur. So I'm so glad you mentioned that. I am going to check them out and maybe even do like, because I was thinking about doing some product placements and like previewing and showing it out and making little clips to share if this is a good resource. So I'm going to take your recommendation. I'm going to place my order tonight so I can get them and start using them and seeing, the results. Because I use, like my grandma, Ola Olay. You may know it as the oil of Olay. My granny would call it Ola Olay. What is it? Ola Olay. Ola Olay. I can't even say it how she would say it. But she used it, and her skin was amazing all of her life. But I also realized it was probably the only product they had for mass consumption that could anyway. So I am definitely looking forward to trying a brand new skincare product, and I'm so excited that you shared Nail Me Down with me so I can move beyond my Ola Olay. So tell me, Tracy, what is this week's special product?
Well, I want to shout out Baker's Black Tie Florist. My manager found out that I moved into my new place because I have to give everybody my new address when I change it. And I got this beautiful bouquet of flowers sent to me. And I thought it was really dope that she, a white woman, specifically searched the Atlanta area for a Black florist. She told me she knew how important supporting Black-owned businesses was to me. And I met the owner who delivered the flowers to me and everything. She was really nice. And I tagged them on Instagram, and she said, "Thank you again for supporting." I mean, and it was a beautiful bouquet. I sent you the picture. Did you?
Yes. I didn't get it. But I'm in the basement. So, my new studio, and so it didn't come. I don't get cell phone reception down here, and I cut off Wi-Fi so it doesn't interfere with the feed.
Well, I sent it we could show it next week, but it was a beautiful bouquet. And so if you get a chance, Baker's Black Tie Florist, they are located at 3779 Campbellton Road, Southwest, here in Atlanta. And check them out. Really beautiful.
I'm going to put them tomorrow in the IG stories and shout them out as well. During this time, of COVID-19, I think, I have no problem sharing that I have gained about 18 pounds of COVID weight. But can you really call it COVID weight? I don't think you can. I think that's not fair to COVID. It's just simply the result of not following the eating plan that I know I have to follow as someone who, has an eating problem. And so I am going to, starting October, really I've already started, but because it's October the 1st, but really I started on Monday getting back on track. I think everyone who knows me, who watches, that I'm a Weight Watcher, WW member. So I've gone back to carefully tracking what I eat, but I'm also limiting my sugar and refined sugar and my carbs. And so with that, though, you go through what's called like sugar withdrawal, especially if you are a sugar addict. Like I am a sugar addict. I love sweet foods, love sweet things. And so because of the sugar addiction, you have to wean yourself off of it, which can be hard because once you have one thing sweet, you will want other things sweet. So the product that I love that I want to share with everyone is this. It's called Swerve Sweets. This is a brand of low carb, zero added sugar desserts. And so you can eat them and it has lots of protein and healthy ingredients without the sugar. It has natural sweeteners like monk fruit that still taste great. They cook great and they actually taste just as good as a regular cupcake. I don't make the cake, I make the cupcakes. And here's an interesting thing about this is that they hold up better. So I made 12 cupcakes from one box. You can buy this at Walmart, Publix, Kroger, any Whole Foods, Trader. I don't know about Trader Joe's, but I know they have it at Whole Foods, Whole Foods, Walmart, Publix, and Kroger. These cupcakes, I made 12. I eat one per day. They're going to all still be just as fresh on day 12 as they were on day 1. Now, you may wonder, why is that? I don't know. I think it might be because it doesn't have the gluten and the wheat and all those elements in it that make things maybe go bad faster, but they stay very moist and very fresh. And
they black owned? They black owned? Are they black owned?
No, I'm certain this is a pretty big box production, so I doubt if they are. But I can bring you one tomorrow, Tracy, so I can see this house whenever you're ready. Now, I have 12. I have 11 left. So I can always bring you one. You can try it. You can be it. And what I put on top, I put sugar-free frosting on them. As well.
Come over for lunch.
What are you cooking?
Oh, I'm not cooking anything. My fridge isn't here yet. So my fridge comes tomorrow.
Oh, so I would just be bringing us lunch. I'll just come over and bring us lunch.
We can go to Bella's, and that was another place I was going to tell y'all. Bella, a Baltimore Crab and Seafood. They also own Baltimore Crab and Seafood on I think they own Pearl Lounge, and then they own Garden Park. Y'all, all their food is amazing.
Well, that's good. We will have to try that. So, Michael, it's been a pleasure. We support you. We endorse you.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
I'm going to be in touch. I'm going to have you do a whole bunch of other shows and talks because we need that millennial. Well, we need that Zoomer perspective because you're not a millennial. I mean, you're a whole other generation.
Yeah.
We need that. So I want to put you on standby for the vice presidential debate. If you're free, we would love to have you join us to talk about the post VP debate. So just if you have time and if it fits your brand, think about that. We'd love to have you. Candace wants to know, Tracy, the seller take the fridge?
It's a new construction, Candace, and so they gave me all my appliances except my fridge. So, and the one that I originally purchased has been out of stock, and they didn't tell me that. So I went on ahead and purchased it, but they gave me that good old upgrade, you feel me, for the same price.
I was going to say, I have a free refrigerator in my basement.
What, the little bitty fridge?
No, it's a real refrigerator from my old house that's not even in use.
But see, I got does this one have the TV on it?
No, Tracy, we don't have none of that magic. If I had all that magic, then guess what? It would be the real refrigerator.
Yeah, see, I got the one with it can see inside your fridge. It's a smart fridge. It can give you recipes. God is good for the upgrade. Yeah.
God is good for that upgrade. So everybody, thank you guys for joining us. It's been a pleasure. Tracy, as always, it's a joy to engage with you. And Michael, thank you so much for being here with us tonight, brother. We appreciate you.
Thank you.
All right, guys.
I got the Samsung. Yes.
We will see you next week.
All right. Yeah.
That was hilarious.